Okay, we are joined on the podium by head coach Kim McNeill, Tatyana Wyche, and Danae McNeal. For those of you who have not heard, Danae and My Joyner were named to the all-tournament team. Coach, before we go to questions, would you give us some thoughts about tonight's game?
I'm extremely proud to sit up here and say that I'm the head coach of ECU women's basketball. I love these young women as if they were my own daughters. And you know, as I said yesterday, people don't realize that coaching has so much more to do than X's and O's. It's about teaching them life lessons. And tonight was a life lesson for us that we will learn from, we will grow from. We will take that with us out into the real world and understand how to manage adversity. Tonight wasn't our best performance, but I'm proud of the run that we made. Our season has been up and down all year long, just dealing with a lot of adversity. For us to get to this point, I'm extremely proud, but not happy with the performance that we did tonight. And because of how hard we fought these last 3 games, you know, we didn't fight as hard as we could have tonight, but extremely proud to be the head coach here, excited about our future, excited, you know, to give these girls a couple of weeks off and to get back going, to work on some things that we need to work on to make sure that we're back here next year, but we're not here with tears. We're here with tears of joy and happiness that we're going to get back here and win a championship next year. You know, Rice is a great team, played extremely hard, hit some big shots. They managed our runs. We made some runs, and, you know, they stopped them and got back on pace. So congratulations to them, but I can't continue to reiterate how proud I am to be the head women's basketball coach at ECU.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start in the room here. If you have a question, raise your hand, please. We'll get a microphone to you. Right there on the right.
Coach, congrats on a good season. Quick, how tough is it? Well, 2 things. Congrats on making the championship 2 years in a row, and how tough is it to play 4 games in 4 days and keep that level of intensity?
It's hard, you know, especially, you know, this year was supposed to be my deepest bench that I've had thus far. And so, you know, when Micah and Sunil went down, that made 2 freshmen have to step in and play that I was depending on, you know, coming off the bench and, you know, letting our bench be, you know, more productive and have more depth on the bench. But, you know, it happens. It's sports. You know, you can't make excuses. And, you know, like as I said before, you know, we had some really good runs this year. I still told the girls, you know, when those 2 went down that we still had an opportunity to win it. We still had an opportunity to compete for a championship, and we did that. You know, we got here 3 games in a row, and the style of play that we play, you know, playing 4 games in a row is tough, but heck, Rice did it too. They had to play 4 games in a row too, so there's no excuse. But, you know, just life lessons we'll learn from, and we'll be back here next year.
Right in the front.
Coach, you just mentioned the big word for this week, toughness of this league. If you can expound on how hard it is not to just win at home or on the road, but having to deal with night in and night out, not knowing if your players are going, all of your players that you need will be healthy to finish out. Yeah,
we dealt with that too. You know, we went on a 5-game win streak where we were playing some of our best basketball. You know, played Charlotte at home and beat them really bad. And Tati goes out in the 3rd quarter. You know, then we go down to Rice without her, and then her twin sister gets hurt in the 2nd quarter. So, you know, our lineup has changed all year long with injuries, sickness, you know, whatever the case may be. So it's just been a lot of adversity, you know, the whole year long. But that's a part of sports. You know, it's a part of being an athlete. You know, learning how to deal with adverse situations. And you know, when you got to play 4 games in a row, you know, it's a toughness factor. It builds character. You know, I thought we had a stage there where we kind of went on a run, and then we got, you know, they hit a couple of big shots. We hung our heads a little bit. But as I said before, we'll be back here next year. We'll be back.
And the other point of emphasis, the droughts that you all had this evening, it was like it was 1 too many, because every team in this league, especially this week, we saw a lot of those type of situations, but you all had one long drought. I think it was over 2 minutes long in between points. What did you talk to the girls about in a timeout to keep their head in the game?
Yeah, we got off to a slow start. We only scored 3 points in the first quarter. That's tough. When you get down, get yourself in a hole and you got to dig out, a 15, 16-point deficit. But the message was the same, and every time out, continue to fight, continue to get stops. We are a defensive-minded team, so just continue to reiterate on defending and limiting them to one shots and seeing if we could get out and transition and create some offense for us.
Chuck, we've got someone on Zoom.
Sure, you can just use the raise hand feature to get in the queue. We'll start with Steve and Igo, please.
Coach, I'm sure it's tough to sum up, but taking Danae out in the final minute, that moment seemed pretty emotional. Just can you walk us through that, the emotions of that?
Thought of that being her last game in an ECU uniform is kind of hard to swallow. She's meant so much to this program, so much to my family, so much to Pirate Nation. She's helped put this program on the map. And I will forever be grateful for everything she's done for this program. She'll go down as one of the best Pirates. Just a hard pill to swallow.
Take a couple more. Patrick Mason, please.
Coach, kind of to switch gears there, but you guys hung with them for the final 3 quarters. Basically pretty much even. So how much does the kind of that opening quarter hurt, and just trying to dig out of that hole kind of throughout the game after that?
Yeah, it's looked a little bit like last year, except Houston wasn't scoring either, in that first quarter, whereas this year, Rice was scoring and we wasn't, so it's, we're not a team that, can get that far behind. We can get, 7 or 8 or 10 points, but to get down 15, 16 points is kind of tough for us, especially when we're not shooting the ball that well from the outside. So, that was hard, to come out, to dig out of that hole. And Rice, they kept their foot on the pedal, and kept hitting open threes, and it's just it's hard, when you dig yourself that big of a hole in tournament play.
Okay, we'll go to Dan Tortora, please.
Coach, I know obviously this is a tough moment and an emotional moment, but there's a lot of wins that come along the way. When you reflect on this season on and off the court, what are some of those victories that you feel this Pirates team has accomplished in your mind? Yeah,
I think once Micah and Sunil went down, I don't think anybody thought we'd be sitting here today competing for a championship. It gave a lot of young kids an opportunity to play. You look at our starting lineup, we've got 2 freshmen, a sophomore, a junior in Tati, who, she's a junior in class, but this is probably the most she's played in her career and the biggest impact she's had to have in her career. So, she's still kind of youthful to being out there on the floor too, and then we had 1 fifth-year senior. So we got a lot of young kids that got a lot of experience that's going to make them better sophomores next year. And then we've got 3 kids on the bench that will be back next year that will bring some leadership and some experience. So you look at all those young kids that got that experience this year, that was able to play in this environment, that were able to play for a championship. And then what we got returning, that has been injured, it's, the future's bright, but we just got to learn from a lot of mistakes and things that we made this year, that we kind of, like self-wounds that we did that made us finish 9th. Like we're not the 9th best team in this league, obviously. We should have been higher in the league, but everything that happened, was on us, and we got to learn from it. We got to grow from it. We got to have a really good off season, just working on some things. But I think the biggest thing is just the experience that, some of these young kids got, that are going to be returning next year.
And to the student athletes, just what you can say about what you've taken away from this season and the fact that you aren't, obviously, like Coach said, the 9th best team in the AAC, and just how you showed that in these last 4 days.
Either one.
I just feel like what I took from it was just fighting through adversity no matter what. Like Coach said, losing Sania and Micah, it wasn't ideal, but we pushed through it, and that's what got us here.
Take the last one from Patrick Mason, please.
Tatyana, this is for you. I just wanted to ask you about, throughout the year, I know this was your first year here. Throughout the year, Coach has just been challenging you all year to kind of step up. And, over the past couple months, maybe even the last half of the season, you've been really dominant. What's that like, kind of growing into that role and really kind of embracing this team and getting to where you guys are today?
I mean, it was a great feeling. Thank you to the coaches for trusting me and putting me in this position. It's obviously not easy going into the portal, so it was very scary, but getting here and being where we are now, it's a great feeling, making it to the championship at least.
All right, Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you to Cole